Hey guys, tonight we're stepping barefoot into drifting sands beneath a violet dawn, where the desert winds carry the scent of cool dust and distant myrrh. You stand as a devout woman, alone but never truly alone, feeling each grain beneath your calloused feet, hearing each sigh of the waking dunes. Your thin wool robe clings to your shoulders as prayers slip softly past your lips, carried upwards with the rising sun's pale fingers. The horizon blurs in pink and gold, but your eyes remain closed, refusing the temptation of beauty, seeking only your Lord's unseen face. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Tell me where you're listening from tonight, and what time it is where you are. I always love reading your replies. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You walk steadily, sand whispering beneath each step, the soft hiss punctuated by the distant cries of desert crows searching for carrion. Your stomach rumbles with the emptiness you've carried since yesterday's final handful of dates. You smile, faintly amused by your own weakness. After all, you probably won't survive this journey without divine mercy. Still, it's a good death, you think? A death filled with prayer, with quiet thoughts of forgiveness, and with not a single overdue bill to pay. The sun climbs higher. Your shawl is damp with sweat where it rests against your neck. Historians still argue whether devout female ascetics like you traveled completely alone, or whether silent porters followed at a distance, guarding with iron spear tips. But here, you walk alone, except for the sound of your voice chanting sacred verses, each syllable trembling the morning air, as you pause to sip from a cracked clay flask, cool water biting your dry lips. A gentle breeze skims across your forehead, carrying the fragrance of wild desert thyme, blooming hidden between the rocks. That scent has always reminded you of home, of a tiny garden beyond the city walls, where your mother's worn hands once tended herbs and wove them into dinner. A mainstream historical fact: in medieval Arabian settlements, thyme was prized not only for cooking, but as an antiseptic poultice for wounds. But out here, thyme is simply perfume for the dawn. You resume your prayer posture, knees pressing lightly into the warm sand, and bow forward. In the distance, tiny mirages flicker, a wavering silver lake, a forest of rippling green palms. Your lips twitch into a tired smile at the illusion's persistence. "Show me no sweetness but yours," you whisper, voice hoarse with faith. A desert beetle crawls past your knee, its iridescent shell reflecting the morning's gold. You watch its stubby legs scuttle with determined dignity and wonder whether it, too, chants silent beetle prayers as it rolls its precious dung ball across the dunes. A quirky tidbit: some ancient Arabian tribes believed dung beetles whispered secret names of God as they worked, which is oddly comforting. Your prayer continues, your voice quieter now, just a gentle thread woven into the wide hush. "Forgive me," you murmur. "Forgive my distracted heart, my hunger for life, my clumsy dreams." You feel tears gathering beneath your lashes, but let them fall freely, cooling your burning cheeks in rivulets of salt. And so you remain there as the sun rises fully, praying to a sky that remains silent yet impossibly vast, to a God whose gaze you sense in every sigh of shifting sand. Far ahead, unseen for now, waits a serpent in need of rescue, a crystal cave of illusions, and an angel's gleaming scale. But for this moment, you breathe, you pray. You remain alive in the desert's lonely embrace. The day burns forward, and your knees ache from long prayer upon the sun-warmed sand. You rise slowly, brushing grains from your robe, and continue your silent journey. Each step presses a fleeting imprint into the dunes, quickly swept away by the restless desert wind. Your flask is nearly empty now, and your lips crack with each whispered verse you offer to the sky. You crest a low hill of ochre sand, your shadow short and sharp beside you, and freeze. There, wedged between two limestone boulders, is a snake. Its scaled body is thick and dark, glistening with a pattern of muted bronze diamonds. You take an instinctive step back, your sandals crunching against small pebbles. The snake writhes and strains, half its body pinned beneath a jagged rock slab that has fallen from above. Historians still argue whether the devout ascetics of old believed snakes to be purely cursed creatures, or if some viewed them as guardians of hidden wisdom. Either way, your heart pounds in your throat as you watch its frantic eyes flicker between you and the unyielding stone. "Peace," you whisper, though your voice trembles. The snake's tail thrashes against the sand in fear or pain, creating small sprays of dust that catch the sun like sparks. You feel the first tingle of dread crawling down your spine. After all, you probably won't survive a viper bite out here, and your prayerful corpse would become a husk for desert crows. But another voice rises within you, soft yet commanding. Help it. You sigh at the timing of divine tests. Kneeling cautiously, you set your flask aside, gripping the edge of the fallen rock. Your shoulders strain with each pull. The stone shifts a fraction, and the serpent hisses, flaring its hood in panic. "Easy now," you murmur. "I'm not your enemy." A quirky tidbit. In some medieval Arabian fables, snakes were believed to understand human speech fully, though they rarely deemed it worth replying to. Finally, with one last desperate shove, the stone tips just enough. The snake slithers free in an instant, coiling away into the shadow between boulders. You stagger backwards, panting, arms shaking from the effort, as you sit, catching your breath. You see its triangular head peeking out from the crevice, forked tongue flicking towards you with curious precision. "Go," you say softly, half smiling at your own relief. "I've done my part. Don't you have some mouse to catch or a lost caravan to scare?" But instead of vanishing, the snake lingers. Its golden eyes fix upon yours, and you feel a shiver travel down your spine despite the heavy heat. The air seems to still around you. Historians still argue whether such accounts of talking animals were pure moral allegory or folk memory of shamanic visions induced by fasting and sunstroke. The snake rises higher, its scales shimmering with bronze-green hues. Then, in a voice that seems both hiss and whisper, it speaks. "You have freed me, daughter of dust," it says. "And so I owe you truths hidden from your eyes." Your mouth opens, but no sound emerges. For a moment, you think the sun has finally melted your mind. But the snake continues, unbothered by your shock. "Tonight, follow me when the moon rises." It instructs. Beyond the dunes lies a cave of crystal pillars. There, your prayers will be tested, your faith weighed. Only then will you taste the sweetness you seek. Your heart hammers against your ribs with a rhythm that almost hurts. You reach for your flask with trembling fingers, taking a desperate gulp of warm, brackish water. You stare at the serpent, your throat dry again before you even swallow. What is this?" you stammer. But the snake's eyes close, and it sinks back into the crevice, disappearing with a soft slither. The wind resumes its gentle sigh through the rocks, and for a moment, the desert feels almost empty again. Almost You sit in stunned silence, the sun pulsing hot against your bent head. The faint scent of time returns on the breeze, teasing your senses with memories of simpler prayers, simpler hungers. You probably won't survive this. You think wryly, but you press your palms to your face, feeling the grit of sand against your skin, and begin to pray again, your words now tinged with wonder and dread. The sun's arc descends toward the violet edge of evening, shadows stretching long and cold across the dunes. You remain near the rocks, waiting in prayerful stillness. The serpent's words coil in your mind, each syllable sharp as its fangs. A cave of crystal pillars, your faith weighed, sweetness you seek. The breeze picks up, whispering past your ears like unseen voices discussing your fate. Historians still argue whether these devout women experienced visions as pure metaphor, or if prolonged fasting and heat exhaustion conjured vivid hallucinations of spiritual trials. But as darkness deepens around you, this feels far from metaphor. At last, a silver crescent rises above the dunes. You stand slowly, every joint aching from your vigil, and scan the rocks for movement. There, sliding gracefully over moonlit stone, is the serpent. Its bronze diamonds gleam with cold light as it turns towards the dunes, flicking its tongue as if beckoning. You follow with cautious steps. Each footprint sinks softly into the cooling sand. The desert at night feels alive with secrets, the scuttle of beetles, the distant wails of foxes, and the silent gaze of hidden owls watching your pilgrimage unfold. The serpent leads you further into darkness, weaving between dunes, until at last you glimpse it, a yawning cave mouth set into the base of a pale limestone ridge. Moonlight glints from within, fractured into 1,000 shifting beams. Your breath catches. You step closer and peer inside. The entire cave seems carved of crystal, each jagged pillar rising from sand like frozen lightning. Pale blue and white light reflects from countless angles, bathing you in ghostly glow. A quirky tidbit. Medieval Arabian alchemists believed quartz crystals formed when moonlight froze underground. A poetic superstition that almost feels true here. Enter! The serpent hisses softly, coiling near your feet. Beyond these pillars lie the veils of gold, beauty, and life itself. Your pulse quickens, but you shake your head slowly. I seek no gold, you whisper. Only forgiveness. The serpent chuckles, a harsh rasp echoing off crystal walls. All who enter say such things. You step forward, feeling cold air brush your fever-warm skin. The cave hums with a faint sound like wind chimes underwater, a vibrating silence that pricks at your eardrums. Historians still argue whether the famed crystal caves of folk tales were real mineral chambers or metaphors for the labyrinths within human conscience. Inside, shadows dance between the pillars. You sense movement deep within, flickers of shifting gold, soft pools of blue light. Your sandals crunch against scattered quartz fragments. You realize you're holding your breath and exhale slowly, fogging the crystal nearest your face. The serpent slithers ahead, scales rasping against stone. You will see illusions here, it warns. Gaze upon them, but do not desire them, for every wish carves another scar upon your soul. Your chest tightens at its words. You walk deeper into the glowing forest of quartz, each pillar rising taller than the last, until their tips vanish into darkness. The reflections merge and split like rivers of pale fire, and your eyes blur with exhaustion. You pause before a massive crystal sheet, smooth as polished glass. Within its depth, you see your reflection, except this woman is robed in silk of deep sapphire, her skin flawless, her hair black and oiled with perfumed resins. Jeweled bangles adorn her wrists, rubies gleam from her ears. You almost don't recognize yourself. You probably won't survive this. You think faintly. For how does a humble soul survive seeing its own greed and hidden vanities laid bare? You lower your gaze and whisper a prayer of dismissal, the syllables trembling with effort. The serpent turns its head back towards you, its golden eyes glinting with approval or amusement. You cannot tell which. "Come," it hisses. The tests have only just begun. The serpent glides ahead, its sinuous form weaving through the towering crystal pillars. You follow, each step echoing with a faint chime as your sandals strike scattered shards. The cold blue glow deepens to violet near the cave's heart, casting your shadow long and warped across gleaming walls. Your stomach clenches with hunger, but your heart clenches harder with dread. Historians still argue whether these crystal cave visions were moral tales to keep ascetics humble, or records of ritual trance journeys practiced in hidden Sufi sects. Either way, each step feels like walking deeper into the unknown regions of your own soul. You pass a pillar as wide as a tree trunk. Within its mirrored surface, illusions flicker and shift. You glimpse a vast feast laid out before you. Lamb roasted with saffron and almonds, trays of ripe dates dripping with honey, glistening pomegranates cut open to reveal ruby seeds. The fragrance seems to waft towards you, rich and cloying. Your mouth floods with saliva before you catch yourself. You close your eyes tightly. "No," you whisper, though your voice shakes. "Feed me only with what you decree." The serpent chuckles softly ahead, its voice echoing with a rasp. "Temptations of the flesh are easy to deny," it hisses. "Greater are the illusions of the spirit." You continue, your stomach twisting with hollow pangs. A quirky tidbit: medieval Arabian scholars often broke their fasts with dates soaked in goat milk, believing it restored calm to the mind. You would give anything for even a single date now. But you walk onward, swallowing your thirst and hunger. The cave narrows into a corridor lined with slender crystal spikes. Here the illusions grow stranger. You see yourself kneeling in radiant light, an angelic crown upon your brow, as crowds gather to touch the hem of your robe. Their voices rise in praise. "She is blessed, she is holy, she is the purest among women." Your chest tightens with a shameful thrill before tears well up and spill down your cheeks. You bow your head quickly. "I am dust," you whisper. "Forgive my hidden pride." The serpent coils itself around a tall crystal just ahead, its bronze diamonds catching every fractured beam of violet light. "Remember this," it murmurs. "The illusions that tempt are merely reflections of what already dwells within." Your legs tremble as you pass it, stepping into a vast chamber at the cave's deepest heart. Here the ceiling rises into darkness, vanishing beyond sight. Towering pillars of smoky quartz surround a single raised dais of white stone. Upon that dais rests a small pool of water, its surface glowing softly as if lit from below. "Approach," the serpent instructs. Its voice is softer now, almost kind. "Look into the pool of Sadaka." You climb the 3 narrow steps and kneel beside the pool. Leaning forward, you see your reflection shimmering within the water. But it shifts and deepens, revealing scenes from your life. Your childhood in a reed-roofed hut beside the city walls. Your mother teaching you to grind lentils between worn basalt stones. Your father's cracked hands weaving goat hair into coarse tent cloth. Then you see yourself praying alone upon the sands, tears running down your cheeks. And beyond that, an older version of yourself, bones sharp beneath thin skin, eyes closed forever beneath a stone cairn in the desert. Historians still argue whether such pools were purely mythical devices, or whether ritual scrying vessels filled with polished obsidian or spring water were used in spiritual training. Your chest tightens painfully. You probably won't survive this journey. You realize again. But instead of fear, a deep calm settles into your bones, like the hush of pre-dawn before birdsong begins. "Why show me these things?" you whisper to the serpent, your voice echoing into the silent crystal vaults. "Because," it replies softly, "only those who know themselves can stand before the scale of deeds." The pool's glow begins to fade, leaving only your pale reflection, eyes wide with awe and grief. You bow your head low until your forehead touches the stone rim, whispering a prayer of gratitude, though your heart is filled with trembling uncertainty. "Come," the serpent calls from below the dais. Night deepens. Your true test awaits beneath the stars. You descend from the dais, knees weak, the chill of the stone lingering on your skin. The serpent coils beside the lowest step, its golden eyes reflecting every trembling facet of your soul. Without a word, it turns and slithers towards a narrow tunnel that winds away from the crystal chamber. You follow, ducking beneath low overhangs of quartz that brush your shoulders with cold light. Soon, the tunnel opens into the silent desert night. Cool wind embraces you, scented with dry sage and the faint salt of distant dunes. Above, the heavens stretch endlessly, studded with diamond-bright stars swirling in their eternal dance. You step out into the sand and stand breathing in the vastness. The cave mouth glows faintly behind you, like a dream fading at dawn. The serpent curls beside your feet, silent and watchful. Historians still argue whether such desert vigils were common rites among mystics, or if tales like yours were created to inspire humility in all who heard them. You walk a short distance from the cave until you find a flat patch of sand. There, you sink to your knees and spread your thin shawl across your shoulders, shivering as the cold seeps through. The stars seem so close tonight, almost within reach. You whisper each constellation's name in the old tongue: the Bedouin's spear, the mother's bowl, the sleeping camel. A quirky tidbit: medieval Arabian astronomers named hundreds of stars, mapping them with intricate poetry to guide caravans through the blackest nights. The serpent coils in a silent spiral beside you, its eyes half-lidded as though in meditation. You close your eyes and begin your prayers. Words emerge slowly at first, your breath visible in the chill, then build into a steady rhythm like waves against a quiet shore. But distractions tug at your mind. Images from the crystal cave linger: gold, beauty, praise, illusions of youth and power. You scold yourself silently. "I am dust. I am dust. I am dust," you repeat, grounding each syllable with your heartbeat. Hours pass. Your legs cramp beneath you, and your shoulders ache from holding the prayer posture. The cold deepens, gnawing at your bones. You pull your shawl tighter, rocking gently back and forth, a rhythm that soothes your chattering teeth. You probably won't survive this. You think again, with a faint smile in the dark. But what is survival, you wonder, if the soul wanders lost and untested? Better to freeze beneath the stars in prayer than to feast in a palace with a hollow heart. Above you, the Milky Way spills its pale dust across the sky. Tiny meteors flash and vanish in silent arcs. The moon has set, leaving only the trembling tapestry of endless light. Historians still argue whether such night vigils were undertaken willingly by women, or imposed as penance by male spiritual leaders seeking to break pride. Either way, you feel no anger, only an ache of devotion that blooms like a silent flower in the dark. Your breath slows, your prayers quiet to a whisper. Between each verse, you listen to the vast silence. Even the serpent is silent now, a dark coil against the starlit sand. You bow until your forehead brushes the ground, feeling grains of cold sand press into your skin. "Forgive me my secret sins," you whisper, "and forgive me for loving this silent beauty more than I love my life." A soft breeze brushes past, carrying a scent of time from unseen slopes. You breathe it in deeply, tears slipping from the corners of your eyes, leaving cool tracks down your cheeks. The night deepens, vast and cold, wrapping you in a silence beyond words, beyond thought, beyond any illusion the crystal cave could ever conjure. The first pale glow of dawn brushes the eastern horizon with strokes of dusty rose and faded gold. You kneel unmoving, your body numb with cold, muscles locked in aching stillness after your long night's vigil beneath the unblinking stars. Your breath forms soft clouds in the crisp air. The serpent shifts beside you, its bronze scales whispering over sand as it coils tighter against the chill. Its eyes remain half-lidded, as if lost in private dreams of desert gods and forgotten oaths. You slowly lift your head, vertebrae clicking painfully back into alignment. Your neck throbs, your shoulders feel like stone, but your chest is filled with a strange, quiet pride. You have endured. Historians still argue whether these vigils were symbolic reenactments of the prophet's cave meditations, or if they emerged from older Bedouin practices of night watch under tribal law. Either way, you have prayed through the silent hours, refusing sleep's easy mercy. You rise unsteadily, blood rushing back to your feet in sharp needles. The serpent uncoils and slides ahead across the rippled dunes, scales catching the first golden rays. You follow, each step slow and measured, your joints stiff from the cold vigil. Behind you, your prayer hollow remains etched into the sand, a fleeting record soon to vanish beneath the restless desert wind. The dawn grows brighter, warming your numb face. You probably won't survive this journey. Your mind murmurs again with weary humor. But at least you'll die with the sun on your skin, and your sins laid bare like open scrolls before the throne. Ahead, the serpent pauses beside a lone acacia tree growing from a cleft in the rocks. Its roots clutch the stone like desperate fingers. Pale yellow flowers bloom from its twisted branches, scenting the morning with a bittersweet fragrance. A quirky tidbit. Medieval Arabian travelers often brewed acacia flowers into a faintly sweet tea, believing it cooled fevered minds and soothed grief. The serpent's golden eyes fix upon you. Today, it rasps. You will meet the angel who weighs deeds. Your heart lurches into your throat. You bow your head, eyes closing as dread blooms like bruises beneath your ribs. You had known this test would come, but now the knowledge flares into trembling fear. You sink to your knees at the tree's base. The ground is cool and shaded here, scattered with fallen petals and long, thin acacia pods. The serpent circles you once before settling near your feet. Tongue flicking the crisp morning air, silence deepens around you. Even the wind stills. The sunlight grows brighter until the sand glitters with a million gold flakes. Then a new presence gathers in the warming air, an almost tangible hush that presses against your skin and fills your chest with heavy knowing. You open your eyes. Standing before you is a figure cloaked in white so brilliant it hurts to look upon. Wings arch from its shoulders, feathers brighter than sunlit quartz, each plume quivering with silent power. Its face is hidden within the radiance. but you sense eyes watching you with unblinking clarity. The angel carries a scale wrought of polished bronze, each arm balanced in perfect symmetry. Suspended from thin golden chains are two small hammered dishes. The angel lowers it before you without a word. Historians still argue whether such scales appeared only in eschatological visions or if they symbolized mundane legal judgments in folk adaptations. Here, it is neither legend nor metaphor. It is your truth. Your chest tightens with tears as the angel's silence wraps around your soul. In the quiet, you hear each breath, each regret, each fleeting kindness of your life ringing out like distant temple bells. The serpent hisses softly beside you, its tone reverent and almost afraid. "Behold your measure," it whispers, and so you kneel there as dawn bleeds fully into day. The scent of acacia flowers sharp in your nostrils, and the weight of every choice you've made gathers upon the shining scale before the angel's eternal gaze. The scale hangs motionless between you and the angel, each dish gleaming in the sharp morning light. The silence deepens until you hear your own heartbeat drumming against your ribs like a prisoner's fist on cell bars. You lower your gaze, unable to bear the pure brilliance of the angel's hidden eyes. Slowly, faint ripples begin to stir the bronze dishes. You watch, throat tight, as ghostly images swirl into view upon each hammered surface. On the left side, every prayer uttered with a trembling voice, every humble deed done without witness, from filling your mother's water jar at dawn to sweeping a neighbor's doorstep without being asked. Each memory flickers in pale gold light, pulsing gently with warmth. On the right side, actions you thought buried forever. That quick flare of envy towards your sister's new robe, a lie told to avoid work as a child, the quiet pride when others praised your piety. Each sin gleams with a muted, cold silver glow. Historians still argue whether these scales of deeds appeared in death visions alone, or if they symbolized the weighing of conscience that every devout soul must endure in life. Either way, here, the judgment feels real and final. You probably won't survive this, you think with dry amusement, though tears spill from your eyes and soak into the sand below. Your shoulders shake with silent sobs, your ribs aching beneath the ragged heave of your breath. The angel remains silent, the scale trembling faintly as each new fragment of your life drifts into view. A soft breeze lifts your hair, carrying the scent of distant desert time once more. That fragrance anchors you to the world of flesh and dust, even as your spirit seems to float in dread. A quirky tidbit. In some medieval Arabian manuscripts, the scales of judgment were said to be woven from the same gold as the sun's heart. Too heavy for jinn or demon to steal, guarded only by the angel of balance whose wings span the width of the sky. Finally, the flickering visions fade, leaving only emptiness upon each dish. The bronze arms tilt, first left, then right, before settling into perfect balance. The angel's wings shift with a whisper like wind through reeds, though it says nothing. Peace spreads through your chest like warm honey poured over cold stone. The serpent slithers forward, bowing its head low to the glowing figure. Her deeds weigh true. It hisses softly, its forked tongue flickering with reverence. You raise your gaze. Tears still blur your vision. But you sense the angel's approval, a silent mercy that calms every trembling nerve. The brilliance dims slightly, enough that you see a faint outline of its hidden face, impossibly serene. Eyes like polished moonstone reflecting eternity. Historians still argue whether such visions were considered rewards for purity or warnings of approaching death. But here, beneath the acacia tree's pale blossoms, you feel neither terror nor pride. Only acceptance. The angel lifts the scale once more, tucking it against its chest, then fades silently into light. Its glow brightens to a piercing white before dissolving into the blue-gold morning sky. The world grows quiet again. Only the rustle of acacia leaves and the serpent's soft breathing filling the silence. You remain kneeling long after the vision fades, forehead pressed to the sand, lips moving with silent prayers of gratitude. The serpent coils around your ankles in silent guardianship. Its scales cool against your bare skin. Eventually, you rise, body trembling with exhaustion, spirit heavy yet unburdened. The serpent lifts its head to meet your gaze. Your path nears its end. It murmurs. One truth remains unspoken. Prepare your heart. Daughter of dust, you nod silently, swallowing against the dryness of your throat. Your legs are weak as reeds as you begin to walk once more, leaving the acacia tree behind, stepping into the widening blaze of morning sun. The sun climbs higher, brightening the dunes into vast golden waves. Heat seeps back into your bones, thawing the cold ache from your sleepless vigil. You walk slowly, the serpent gliding at your side, its scales whispering secrets to the sand. Your mind drifts with exhaustion, each step echoing like a fading drumbeat. But you force yourself to remain awake, to remain present, knowing that dreams are safer than truths spoken aloud. The serpent pauses atop a small rise, coiling its body into a flat spiral. Its golden eyes fix upon you with an intensity that tightens your chest. "It is time," it rasps softly, the sound vibrating the warm morning air. "To hear what you freed me to reveal." You lower yourself to the sand before it, knees sinking into the hot grains. Sweat beads upon your brow as you bow your head in submission. Historians still argue whether serpents in these tales symbolized fallen jinn or spirits of wisdom sent to test mortal faith. But here, beneath the burning sky, you feel no certainty, only trembling dread. "You probably won't survive this truth," you whisper to yourself with a dry, humorless smile. The serpent's tongue flickers, tasting your fear. Then it speaks. "I was cursed to that prison by the angel you met." It begins, its voice deeper now, carrying echoes of a realm far beyond human knowing. "For in my arrogance, I judged mortals without mercy. I saw only filth and sin in their deeds. So the angel bound me within stone until a devout heart freed me with compassion." Your mouth opens slightly in surprise. You swallow hard, throat dry as bone. The serpent continues. "For your kindness, I was commanded to grant you a truth hidden from mortal sight. Listen carefully, daughter of dust." It uncoils and lifts its head high, golden eyes gleaming like twin suns. Divine justice is not as simple as deeds weighed upon a scale. It whispers, each word slicing through your heart. It is a mercy beyond your comprehension. Even your darkest sins were woven into your path to teach you patience and humility. Even your purest deeds contain a hidden root of pride to humble you further. There is no human wholly worthy, and yet there is no human wholly forsaken. Your breath catches, tears welling and blurring the serpent into shifting bronze shadows. Historians still argue whether this paradox of mercy and judgment was an invention of mystic poets to comfort the dying, or a fragment of authentic revelation passed through desert oral tradition. You bow low, forehead pressed to hot sand, as sobs break from your chest, raw and unbound. The serpent lowers itself beside you, its scales cool against your trembling hand. "Why tell me this?" you choke out between tears. "Because," it whispers softly, almost with sorrow, "you prayed to be perfect. but perfection is the most dangerous illusion of all. Seek only forgiveness and understanding. You remain there, shoulders shaking, your tears soaking into the sand. The breeze carries the faint scent of time once more, mingling with the salt of your grief. A quirky tidbit: medieval Arabian physicians brewed thyme tea to calm frenzied minds before sleep or death. You wish for such tea now, but all you taste is the bitter dust of your sorrow. Finally, the serpent slithers closer, wrapping part of its body gently around your wrist. Its touch is neither cold nor warm, only grounding. "Come," it murmurs, its voice softer than a breeze. Your prayer remains unfinished. Do not leave your final words unspoken. You nod wordlessly, your throat too tight for speech. Rising slowly, you wipe your tear-streaked face with your dusty shawl. The dunes stretch before you, rippling beneath the brightening sky, their golden silence echoing the truth left ringing in your chest. And so you walk on, the serpent gliding silently beside you, towards the final prayer that will lift your soul beyond sand and sky, beyond illusions of gold or purity, beyond even the weight of mercy itself. You walk for hours beneath the growing sun, its blazing heat pressing upon your shoulders like an iron yoke. Sweat trickles down your spine, dampening your robe until it clings to your trembling limbs. The serpent glides silently at your side, its bronze scales dull in the harsh noon light. Your throat burns with thirst, your tongue thick and heavy in your mouth. But deeper than thirst is the ache within your chest, the truth spoken by the serpent gnawing at the fragile walls of your faith. Mercy beyond comprehension. No human wholly worthy, no human wholly forsaken. The words echo in your mind with each faltering step. Finally, you reach a small hollow between two dunes. The sand here is cool in the shadow of a wind-carved ridge. You sink to your knees, fingers digging into the soft grains. The serpent coils beside you without a word, its golden eyes half-lidded in silent vigil. Historians still argue whether such final prayers of devout women were spoken aloud in these remote deserts, or if tales like yours were embroidered by later poets to inspire humility in their listeners. But here, beneath the blazing sky, it matters little who records your words, only that they rise from your heart with trembling truth. You close your eyes, feeling the sweat drying to salt upon your cracked lips. With each labored breath, your chest tightens until it almost hurts to draw air. And then, in a voice raspy with thirst and exhaustion, you begin your final prayer. "O Lord of veiled mercy," you whisper, "I ask not for life, nor for death. I ask only that you forgive what I cannot forgive in myself. I ask only that you grant understanding to the parts of me that remain blind." Your voice falters as tears fill your eyes, blurring the burning dunes into shifting gold and white mirages. "Forgive me for loving beauty more than piety." You continue, your words catching on dry sobs. "Forgive me for the secret pride woven into my prayers. Forgive me for doubting you in the silence." The serpent remains silent, its cool coils pressed lightly against your thigh in silent companionship. A quirky tidbit: in medieval Arabian folk practice, dying travelers often asked for a serpent to be placed near their bodies, believing it would carry their final words swiftly to God. Your chest trembles with each ragged breath. "And forgive me," you whisper, voice barely audible over the sighing desert breeze. "Forever thinking I could earn your mercy by suffering." Silence wraps around you, vast and shimmering beneath the merciless sun. Your body feels heavy, sinking into the sand as though the earth itself cradles your weakness. You probably won't survive this. Your mind murmurs one final time, but there is no fear now. Only a profound quiet blooming through your limbs, like evening shadows across the dunes. The serpent lifts its head, gazing towards the blazing horizon where the sky shimmers white with heat. It is finished, it rasps softly. Your prayers have reached beyond the veils. You close your eyes, a faint smile touching your cracked lips. Warmth floods your chest, deeper than the sun's burning touch, spreading through your veins with a gentle hum. Your final exhale leaves your lips in a trembling sigh, your fingers loosening their grip upon the sand. Historians still argue whether these accounts of devout women's deaths in prayer were intended to sanctify the hardships of desert life, or to remind listeners of the quiet dignity in accepting mortality. But here, in this silent hollow beneath the unblinking sky, only one truth remains. You asked for forgiveness with your final breath. You asked for understanding with your final thought. And in that final humble prayer, you found a peace deeper than life and softer than any whispered benediction uttered above your quiet grave. Your breath fades into silence. The dunes lie unmoving beneath the blazing sky, the sand glittering around your still body like scattered gold dust. The serpent remains coiled beside you, its head raised towards the searing light, eyes unblinking as though it sees far beyond the mortal realm. Time stretches out into the hush of noon. A breeze sighs over your shawl, fluttering its edge lightly against your cooling cheek. The desert seems to pause to honor your final prayer. The rippling heat haze softening the horizon into a trembling veil of silver light. Historians still argue whether such moments of death were accompanied by visions of angels descending in radiant hosts, or whether a devout woman's final exhale simply joined the silent wind, unmarked by all but the watching earth. But the serpent watches with an ancient understanding, tongue flickering as though tasting your departing spirit. Above, the sky deepens into a sharp, crystalline blue. The sun burns at its zenith, pouring molten gold onto the dunes. The serpent lowers its head, pressing its snout gently against your limp hand. "You probably won't survive this," it whispers softly, echoing your old humor in a voice tinged with sadness. But your prayer survives. Your final prayer drifts upwards through the blazing sky. It rises past the circling hawks, past the slow drift of high clouds, past the gleaming arc of the silent moon, until it reaches the endless realm where mercy weaves through eternity like threads of light in the night sea's depths. A quirky tidbit. Medieval Arabian poets believed prayers offered with final breaths became shining stars set in the dark vault to guide other lost souls home. Perhaps your star now flickers unseen above these dunes, your quiet voice forever woven into the vast night. The serpent remains beside you for hours, guarding your silent form from curious foxes and hunting hawks. When evening cool descends, it coils away, sliding back across darkening sands towards the crystal cave, its promise fulfilled, its curse ended. Your body rests in the shallow hollow of sand, untouched and undisturbed. The evening wind covers your footprints, then your shawl, then the gentle rise of your chest. Only the pale edge of your robe remains visible beneath the rising moonlight, glowing softly like a prayer unspoken. Historians still argue whether your life was one of divine triumph or quiet futility, but the stars care nothing for human judgment. They burn above in silent blessing as your spirit drifts into endless light, shedding every burden, every illusion, every trembling hope of perfection. The serpent's path fades into the darkness, leaving the desert quiet again. The night wind carries the scent of thyme, sage, and cold quartz, as if whispering your name in languages only the dunes and angels understand. Now, let your mind drift beyond this quiet ending, beyond the burning dunes and the coiling serpent, into a deeper silence where no thought clings and no breath struggles. Feel the desert breeze soften against your skin, cooling each weary muscle until your body feels weightless, like drifting mist upon a sleeping sea. Imagine your final prayer lingering within your chest as a soft glow, neither burning nor flickering, just radiating a warm hush that eases every sorrow from your bones. Each inhale deepens that glow. Each exhale releases all sharp edges from your thoughts. The illusions of gold and praise dissolve into shimmering sand. Carried away by winds older than memory, the stars above turn slowly in their silent dance. Each pulse of their distant light soothes your eyelids heavier and heavier. Your shoulders loosen, your jaw unclenches, your hands curl softly against invisible warmth. You are no longer walking across burning dunes, nor kneeling upon cold stone. You are simply floating within quiet mercy, surrounded by endless gentle darkness woven with threads of soft silver light. If your mind wanders to worries, bring it back here to this final desert night, to the hush of sand and prayer, to the quiet truth that forgiveness blooms beyond all striving. Breathe deeply, slowly, with the same rhythm as that ancient serpent's patient watch. And now, let go. Let your thoughts fall silent, like settling dunes beneath a still moon. There is nothing more you need to do, nothing more to prove. Only this soft fading, this calm hush, this whisper of mercy welcoming you home.